Hello, my name is Charles Ardinger, and I'll be working with you in the class that you're about to start as your instructor. I'm making this video presentation in order to introduce myself to you and to tell you a little bit about the class that we'll be working in together. So, with that in mind, my name again is Charles Ardinger. Hello. I've been an instructor here at Coastline since 2013 after having gotten my master's degree from Cal State Fullerton. I specialize in the kind of composition class that we'll be working in together, and I'm mainly interested in English grammar. I really love English grammar. I love talking about it and thinking about it, and especially answering questions about it. So if you have any questions as we continue, I very much hope you'll ask them, because I like having that conversation, and it could be useful for you as well. So that's some information about me, and I hope that we'll be getting to know each other a little better as we continue. But now I want to talk to you a little bit about some aspects of our class. And to do that, we'll want to take a look at our class's homepage. So, here is our class's homepage, and I want to use it to point out 4 aspects of this class that you can keep in mind to help yourself succeed in it and get from it what you want. I want to begin by pointing out these announcements that you'll find at the top of the home page. You can read the announcements by pointing to the title of the announcement and clicking on it. Doing that will lead you to a page that looks like this, where you can read this announcement, which is a piece of prose that I will be posting at least one of each week about issues I see in class, or about issues of grammar, or interesting things that I think will be important to know in class. It can help you to read these announcements regularly as they appear and to think about them. I won't necessarily grade you on them, but the information you get from them will help you as we continue. I also want to point out on the home page that you will find a list of each of the assignments that you'll be doing in class and their due dates, so that you can easily see, just by looking at our home page and a calendar, what you should be doing at any particular point in the class. That will, again, help you as we continue, because you'll want to turn in assignments as on time as you possibly can. When I get assignments, what I do is evaluate them, and I make comments on them. I give you feedback so that you can do better as we progress through the class. And the way to get that feedback is to go to this link on the home page that says Grades. So when you click that, you'll find yourself on a page that looks like this, and you'll notice that there's a blue dot next to the title of Assignment 1, What You Want to Learn. This blue dot signifies something new. In this case, the pretend student that I use to give examples has taken this assignment and has scored a 90% on it and has gotten some feedback. So I'd like to show you how to look at that feedback to get a more detailed assessment of how you're doing. So you click on the title of the assignment, and you get a page that looks like this. You'll notice first that there is a box with comments in it. I will be making these kind of comments on each of your assignments to give you detailed advice on what I see in the work you're doing and how you can apply what I'm saying to your next assignment. Also, if you'd like to get more detailed feedback, you can click this link that says View Feedback, and you'll see a much smaller duplicate of the assignment that you sent in. Now, this is particularly small because the video processing software I use just gives me this little window to video in. Probably when you look at your own work, it will be larger and easier to read. If it's not, please let me know, and we'll figure out a way around that. Now you'll notice on this assignment, there is an annotation. This thing in purple here is called an annotation. It is, as you'll notice, written between the typed lines of your submission. I use it in the same way that a teacher in a non-online class would write on your paper, to give you suggestions about how to word sentences in more academic ways, to give you examples of more academic grammar. Also, we have highlighted annotations. You see that there's a highlight right here that leads to this text box that contains a longer comment. If I have a comment to make that won't fit between the typed lines of your submission, I'll make a highlighted annotation such as this one, or I'll make a longer comment in the comments box here. Finally, if you want to see a detailed assessment of how I scored your work, you can look at the rubric, which is a list of aspects of a piece of work that have scores attached. And you'll notice in this rubric, I'm looking for the way the paragraph follows a pattern, and the way the outline follows a pattern, and the way the paragraph fulfills its length requirement, and of course how the sentences in the paragraph fulfill academic grammatical expectations. And you notice that this paragraph is a little bit short. So the student here didn't write quite enough words to fulfill the requirement that the rubric asks for. And that's something that we can look at in future assignments to see if we can add more words to a paragraph. There are ways to do that. And so that is how you would receive feedback on your assignments. Now I want also, finally, to point out that we can communicate in a more personal way. I can post announcements for you to read. That's one way to communicate. I can give you feedback on your assignments. That's another way to communicate. But also, I've established student visiting times in the class over CCCD Zoom. That means that on specific times, in this class Tuesdays, between 6:30 and 8 p.m. or 18:30 and 2000 if you like military time, I will be in a Zoom meeting that you can also join. And the way to do that is to click this link that says CCCD Zoom and to see this schedule of meetings. You notice that one is coming up Tuesday, February 1st. That'll be the first student visiting time. When you click this button that says join, you will be in the meeting with me, and we can use that time to have a conversation. We can talk about what's going on in class. We can talk about what's going on in the world. We can talk about what's going on in your life or in my life. It's a conversation between people. The idea is that we can use this opportunity to connect on a less academic level and a more personal level, and doing that would probably help us communicate as we continue in class. Also, each student visiting hour you attend is worth 5 extra credit points. So, beyond the help that you can get personally, you can also get help with your grade in the class. And that's always a good thing, I think. So again, I want to remind you that you can look at announcements, that you can get grades so that you can see detailed feedback, and that you can use the right side of the home page as well as this list at the bottom to pay attention to due dates and to make sure that work is submitted as on time as you can possibly make it. And finally, I'd like to thank you for enrolling in the class. There would be no reason to have a class without students, and so without you, there's really no reason for me to do what I'm doing. And I like doing it, so thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with you as we continue, and I also very much want to thank you for your time and attention.